For the last 10 years, my wife and I have lived in New York City. Lately, we've been feeling a growing urge for small-town life. Country stores, friendly neighbors, big old houses, and family heritage. It's like an instinct for finding home. Not our actual home, but the place we would have liked it to be. Recently, we did find this town, out on the tip of Long Island's North Shore. However, unlike the idyllic American small town in our minds, the town of Orient will not live forever unchanged. Our grandmothers remember a Long Island covered in farmland. Now, all that remains is one tiny piece of the island, beyond the Expressway.
How you doing? Good.
My name's Harry Mott. I'm the postmaster in Orient. I've been here for just over 9 years. This place looks pretty tacky, but it's kind of, I guess it's kind of a nostalgic type of atmosphere. We got a bare wood floor and a sign over the door that's faded. It looks like it should have come down 20 years ago. Do you need help up front?
I don't think so, but
When I first came here, I went through some of the cabinets and I found registry receipts that were 100 years old. I thought that was kind of neat. This thing's been laying in the drawer there for 100 years. We open officially at 8 o'clock, and next door they open at the general store at 7:30.
now smile when you put it up, Albert.
Smile.
Smile.
And it's kind of a watering hole in the morning for all the guys and ladies who want to come down and get their mail, and they want to see their friends, and they want to have a cup of coffee and pick up the paper.
I got a call last night, Don McNeil.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God. He says, maybe you can help me. I said, what's the matter? He said, I just got a call from
I guess it's
Clinton.
kind of a regular gab fest, and they hash over all the local politics, and everybody gets to know what everybody's doing, and there's not many secrets, I guess.
What the hell do I
How does
get?
Kurt feel about this?
Yeah.
He gets a portion of the rent.
I'm just going to be manager. You don't have to do nothing. 4 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, so you kill each other.
I'm always out. 4, 4:30.
It would be like fur.
Every morning.
Somebody lost their balls. My name is Curtis Taylor. I lived in Orient all my life. I've loved every minute of it.
When we were in school, we were taught that Long Island is shaped like a fish, and it has 2 points, Montauk Point and Orient Point. Those are the 2 parts of the fish's tail. We are the North Fork of Long Island, and Orient was founded, I think, about 1658. This is still a small community, just very much like it was 200 years ago. The whole community, whole village of Orient is now on the National Register. It's a historic place.
It was God's country. There wasn't too many people around, you know, and not too many buildings, and it was beautiful. The clamming around here was, or anything, the gunning, the wildlife, the clamming, scalloping was just fabulous. And plenty of everything. You go out, pick all the wild cherries you wanted, and a farmer would say, hey, gee, want some strawberries? Go out on the farm, pick a quart, take home to your mother. Then I knew this Polish lady, guys, she was some nice lady. I used to go fishing with her boy, and we came home. I couldn't leave that house without having almost an 8 or 10 course dinner. And then she'd go out and catch a rooster or a goose or a turkey. You take to mama. You take home to mama.
Peaceful, clean air, nice people. My name is Mrs. Burton Rackard. The house I live in is 106 years old.
We're characters, aren't we, Edna?
I tell you, when I came from Brooklyn, it took me 5 years to be accepted here, you know what I mean? Because I come from Brooklyn.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh, certainly they screamed.
How about me?
Well, I'm still not a native, I don't think. He's a native.
Yeah, but I didn't ignore you for 5 years.
No, but some of the...
I never ignore a good-looking woman. Huh? What did you do about the goose? What goose? The swan. Oh, I don't know. I told him about it.
That's another native. Oh, this is the cribbage.
This is cribbage bunch. He and I play cribbage almost every day.
Okay. Now, I tell you what, I'm 87, and he used to go around with my husband. I don't know what he is, but my husband would be 90. How much?
83.
87. This is the baby.
Some baby, boy. Some baby. There you are. So many wears so little time. Come on. Can I go? No.
It took Mr. Rackard 2 years to make this picture, and it was his love for Orient. Mr. Rackard was a country boy who loved his hometown, and his dream was to make a picture of my hometown. He would jump out if he saw something going on, like a yacht race or anything, and if he heard of a wedding, a garden party at Mrs. Spencer Terry, he was always on hand with his camera. Now, when we had bake sales at the Methodist Church, you couldn't buy anything before 1 o'clock. Our Memorial Day parades were always a beautiful day. They started with the Civil War monument at the foot of the lane and honored the First World War and the Second World War. And he also would go around when they were planting seeds in the farm, or the people picking potatoes the old-fashioned way. Mr. Rackard had friends called the Elliott Brooks. They were 3 brothers, and they used to go fishing, and he went up to the Sound near the point, and they sure caught fish.
So different from the hustle and bustle that you have in a city. It's a farming community and a fishing community. People, we don't have all those numbers of fishermen or farmers anymore, but the community hasn't really changed that much.
Town's been built on farming and fishing all its life.
Now, this is the best part of the day. Nobody's around yet.
My name is Douglas Rogers, and I've been fishing approximately 30 years. I've enjoyed the whole 30 years of it. And my son came on about 15 years ago, and he's been doing it on his own ever since. So I've retired in the last couple of years, and I just go to him to have something to do. I like to go out every day.
The
enjoying the freedom out there and the freshness of the air, hearing the seagulls, seeing the different types of fish you catch. I understand nature. The air, the sea, the fish, the birds, the grass, the trees, everything evolves around. And if you kill one thing, you kill off something else. Any fish that we don't keep to sell, we release, and it lives. You don't throw it on the deck and let it die. You throw it overboard to live, even though you don't want it. It's part of a chain cycle in the sea that one thing feeds off another, and it should be going back there to spawn again.
And this was what was the onion field that we used to top the onions. That was all our farm. And this, too. And that Daddy had...
I'm Gertrude King Reeves, and I've been here all my 76 years. My father bought a small farm at Orient Point, and the house was built in the early 1700s, and it has pegs up in the attic where it's put together. He became the biggest farmer around. He had a lot of acreage of his own. The home farm eventually turned into 100 acres, and then he hired another 200 acres from other people, so he was farming about 300 acres. When we were growing up, there was, our families were separated by the farmland they owned. So sometimes you'd go a quarter of a mile before you met another house. They were most of them 30-acre farms, 25 and 30-acre farms. We had 30 of them about 20 years ago. Now there are 3 farms being worked.
I grew up on a farm here. My father was a farmer and my grandfather. My brother Ed Latham now farms that particular farm.
One of the last of the families here that original families, you know, in Orient here, farmers.
Goodness, when I was a very little girl, we still had horses on the farm. We didn't have tractors. 6 horses, 6 or 8 horses.
I actually, as a boy in high school, walked behind a horse cultivating with a one-horse cultivator. I've seen the whole change from horses to the real primitive first tractors to this modern big monster tractors we have today. My son and I are farming a lot of the acreage that 30-some farmers farmed before, close to 500 acres. It's a very demanding 7 days a week business.
Old-fashioned pump. The chain there has cups on it. You crank that up, water comes up, and pours out here. That's a cover for horses' hoofs when they work in the meadow. Here's some more of the horse equipment on their feet. These blocks, I suppose they may even ship blocks at one time. Anyway, when we used it, we did harvest hay. That's a fruit picker. You go up in the tree with that, under an apple or whatever, and do this to it. Well, I'm Bill Tuttle, T-U-T-H-I-L-L. They first came to this country in 1636. This I've used cutting ice. When I was a kid, I grew up using those tools. Homemade cowbell. We always had one cow when I grew up for milk. That thing is a pet to me. I'd lie down in the grass and she'd eat all around my head in the grass. She's a real pet.
What was her name?
Babe. She was a very small cow. Gave a lot of milk. And she was killed by lightning. She was under a tree. The tree was struck. They killed her. Used a flail for threshing wheat, grain. You dump your grain and this talks.
We are very pleased with the tool exhibit. They've had just really done a marvelous job of cleaning them and getting them identified, tags on everything.
These are clams. These, I guess, it's scallops. I'm not sure.
The Historical Society was put together in 1944 by a group of people who thought that antiques and things of historical value were leaving Orient, and that we should have an organization to save these things for future generations.
Look at this, look at this.
So that our children or grandchildren would be able to see the types of things that their forebears had used. Isn't this pretty? This is for a girl. This is probably a girl, yes. A girl's. People were asked to go to their attic and find things to give to the society, and they started with they purchased what we call a village house. People contributed money enough so that for $4,800 they were able to buy that village house. And it's grown since then to have 7 buildings.
You're seeing the remnants of the way people worked out their lives.
What are they, Gabe? Are they just outbuildings of somebody's home, or is it a boat shed, or what is that?
Oh, I don't get those.
They used to be, I don't know what they...
History is, the record of people working out their lives according to the problems that they've faced with at the moment.
I know when the fire bell rang and everything, it frightened me as a child. But I see that truck going down there with all the lanterns on.
And when we touch and put away or record photographs or documents and so forth and so on, we're dealing with people's lives. It takes very little time. In less than a generation, you can lose names of people and places and that kind of thing.
And there's Grandma Tuttle, Mrs. Ross. No, this is Mrs. Ross Tuttle, right there with the hat on.
My name is Don Borum, and I came out here to fill in for a few weeks as a substitute school teacher in September of the year I was going to do my graduate work, and 40 years later, I'm still here.
They were married in 1732 and they lived in this house, Jonathan and Lydia. And it's been father to son ever since, all the way down, 270 years. The gardens Mother and Dad laid out, I'm Constance Terry, I'm known as Connie. Hope and I, my sister, we're the senior members of this household at the moment. I was never married, I never had any children. But my sister has one daughter, and it's going on to her, and she has now a daughter and intends to leave it to her. If we can manage, and if the generations that follow us can manage, this will stay the way it is. I mean, that's our intent and the next generation's intent. You can never guarantee a future. The open space is going, and it's losing its rural, peaceful. It's becoming this, it's becoming a throughway. We are the caretakers. We don't own this property. The property owns us. We're the caretakers of it for our generation, and the next generation will be the caretakers.
It's a very, very special place if you ever drive down across that causeway and look across the bay and see that village. It's almost, to me, it's like a jewel in a setting, really. It's a place that, I've had a permanent love affair with for 40 years. People who come here realize how fragile the whole environment is, and they have seen the tremendous changes that have taken place in other sections of Long Island and throughout the country. And I think, very recently, many of the local people have begun to hopefully realize that it could be all lost in a very short time.
This town was every house. It's 2 stories. Throughout the whole town was a fisherman or a farmer. They're all gone now.
Awful lot of speculators. They came into Orient with barrels of money, and the poor farmers were going broke, so they sold their farmland damn cheap. They grabbed it up, held on to it for a few years, and they tripled or quadrupled their money.
You get fish imported from foreign countries, Spain and Portugal and South America, and all over the world you import fish. This type of fish is local. It's always been done for some 200 years or more. And it's just on its way out. It's the only way I can look at it. It's not a nice look, but it's true.
I hope we can keep going. I hope my son can keep going.
I was very lucky to have lived in Orient when I did. I wouldn't trade with anybody. No, sir.
Mighty God, we give thee thanks for love. But